What's up guys, Godzilla here, also known as Richard Manzo, and real quick before the video starts, I want to address something, so if you just want to get to the main part of the video, I'll put the timestamp right here. So what I want to talk about real quick is you, the people watching this video right now. Now I'm going to go out on a limb here and assume that most of you watching this, you probably know me as the guy who hated Shin Godzilla a long time ago, right? And so when you're now seeing the title of this video, it must be pretty ironic. But that's the thing, the title of this video. The title alone tells you everything you need to know about this video, whether you're going to agree with me or disagree with me. Now, since I've made those Shin Godzilla videos, I've had people telling me that I'm the worst Godzilla YouTuber there is, that I should delete my content, that I only do it for the views and controversy. And hey, honestly, that's all fair, but guess what? You still clicked on it. Now, if you've been watching my channel recently, I did something with a group of my friends where basically I pretended to hack everyone's channel and was uploading like cryptic videos and stuff. It was a lot of fun, and it was only supposed to go on for a couple of days, but of course, people were split by it. Most of the people, I'd say, liked it and were entertained by it, which is good. That's what I wanted, so I'm glad about that. But the other people, they just hated it. But guess what? You guys were still watching. You guys were watching and commenting on every single video, every one that I made. And so this thing was only supposed to last a couple of days, but we kept going because people were just responding to it everywhere. And it was a lot of fun. So think about this. If everyone who just loved Shin Godzilla back in the day just ignored my videos, didn't watch them, I wouldn't have been relevant. I would have had no platform to speak, and I wouldn't have gotten where I did. But it's because everyone gave into it that I am where, it's not great, I guess, on YouTube, where I am now. But I guess what I'm trying to say is thank you for doing that. I know I'm sounding like an arrogant douchebag, but listen, what I'm trying to say is if you don't like me, if you don't like my videos, then you don't have to watch. Nobody's forcing you to watch this. I just see people get so triggered in this fan base. And the funny part is that it's the adults who are acting like children.
Come on. If you guys actually have like issues or something, then hit me up, okay? But don't pull Dangerfield shit on me. You guys know you can come and talk to me one-on-one, and we can be totally cool about it and whatever else. But don't spam my channel, dude. Seriously.
But what do you expect from people who take out mortgages just to afford plastic toys? But hey, that's besides the point. Look, if your mind is made up about me going into this video, then just don't watch it. It's not worth stressing yourself out over. But if you think you can come into this video with an open mind and maybe see a new perspective, then maybe this one is for you. So enough of that said, let's get into the topic of the video. Now, I realize I know I'm a little late to the party on this one. I'm talking about a movie that's almost 2 years old. But just for a little background, I never actually saw King of the Monsters in theaters. I was going through a little bit of a rough patch in life. I wasn't really watching Godzilla. I wasn't a part of YouTube. I wasn't doing anything. I was kind of taking a break. But hey, life gets better, and I finally wanted to watch the movie. And so I watched it for the first time just last year with me and the boys, Raph and Chris and I. We were watching the movie, and we filmed our reactions, and it was going to be a video of itself, but God, I just did not anticipate just how bad the movie was going to be. And it wasn't fun to watch. It was depressing. You could just see my soul leave my body watching it. Oh my God. Is it over? Oh, thank God.
Still an after credit scene.
Oh my God. So after watching that, I was like, hey, there's another movie that I really did not like. I want to rewatch it though. And I rewatched Shin Godzilla. And I was like, hey, I actually kind of like this now.
Are you serious?
So here we are at this video. Now look, this isn't going to be a direct comparison. I know these two are different movies, so it's not going to be like my older videos. But what I'm trying to show is how King of the Monsters should have used a thing or two from Shin Godzilla. So, without further delay, let's get into it. This is why Shin Godzilla is better than Godzilla King of the Monsters. So the first thing I want to talk about is characters. Now, I know most people go into a Godzilla movie, they're not looking for anything with characters, but just hear me out on this one, okay? When you go out to eat at a restaurant, what are you going for? You're going there for the food, right? You're not necessarily thinking about the plate. But let's say this. Let's say it's going to be the best meal you've ever had in your entire life, but the restaurant ran out of plates, and now the servers have to bring it out on their hands, and you have to eat it from their hands. You don't think that would impact the dining experience at all? The plate is so crucial because the food needs to be served on something. That's what the human characters are. The human characters are the plate. The monsters, they are the food. The characters in King of the Monsters, they're just honestly like, they're all over the place. You don't know any characters' motivations. It's just a mess from start to finish, and it just feels like you're thrusted into this and missing a complete first act of the movie. So here's how we're going to do it. We have our three main leads. We have Kyle Chandler, Vera Farmiga, and Millie Bobby Brown. I'm going to call them that because I don't remember their actual names. So the opening of the movie is actually the three of them in San Francisco. We see the events of Godzilla 2014. In the midst of that battle between Godzilla and the Mutos, their son Andrew is killed, so they're looking for their son Andrew. I get that he's dead and all, but I don't understand why they're looking for him. Wouldn't he just, like, I don't know, be dead near them? Also, why are they in San Francisco? Do they live there? They live in Boston. This is a very crucial part of the movie because the death of Andrew, remember his name, he comes up a lot. Andrew!
Come on, Andrew.
Andrew's favorite joke. So Kyle Chandler, for instance, this causes a rift between him and Vera Farmiga and Millie Bobby Brown. So he goes down a dark path of becoming an alcoholic and abandoning his family. That actually sounds interesting. Let's see how King of the Monsters handles that.
When was the last time you spoke to him?
About 3 years ago, after San Francisco, I started drinking.
What I also like is that they try to make us care about this dead kid that we never even see. I mean, like, think about that, like, shitty, was it, Pet Sematary movie? At least they tried to set up the kid. So this brings us to where we find our characters now. Kyle Chandler, he's in the woods talking to wolves or something like that. And Vera Farmiga and Millie Bobby Brown, they're, I don't know, studying monsters in some remote base. Oh yeah, did I also mention that Vera Farmiga is a terrorist in this movie?
Allahu Akbar!
They just fucking treat it like it's a casual Friday in the office. So I have a few questions. Like, first, who is this terrorist organization? Where do they come from? What are their goals? And how did Vera Farmiga start working with them? And why? But hey, don't you worry, because Vera Farmiga, she does have a PowerPoint presentation ready to go. So she believes that the Earth is dying.
The mass extinction we feared has already begun, and we are the cause.
Humans are destroying the Earth. Titans, as they're called in this movie, they're the original rulers of the Earth. And so she wants to release all of them so that they can restore balance, I guess. Which doesn't really make sense for her character, since we just saw in the opening that her son was killed by the Titans. So wouldn't it actually make more sense for her to hate them and try to get rid of all of them? Also, if she's some kind of like monster terrorist hippie now.
Goddamn fucking hippies.
What about Godzilla? Wasn't he established as the balancer of nature? Did he just slacking off or something? I mean, like, if humanity really posed a threat, wouldn't Godzilla have just taken us out by then? And so why does she need Ghidorah if Godzilla's the balancer of nature? Also, she wants to release Ghidorah, who is a space dragon, not from Earth. What makes her think that that Ghidorah would save the Earth? I think what they were trying to do with her character is they were trying to make her a sympathetic villain to where you don't agree with what she does, but you understand why she does it. But they completely missed the last half of that statement. A good example of a sympathetic villain would be Kingpin from Daredevil. Obviously, you don't agree with what he does. It's evil, but we got to see where he comes from, so we understand why he does what he does. With Vera Farmiga, we know what she wants to do, but we don't know why she wants to do it, so she just comes across as an idiot. So not even 30 minutes into the movie, no setup of characters whatsoever, and they're already trying to make us cry.
Let's go. Emma, Maddie, come on.
Daddy?
Madison, walk to me.
Oh, boo-hoo! Let me play a sad song for you on the world's smallest violin.
This would be like if in Godzilla 2014 they just skipped all the setup with Bryan Cranston and Aaron Taylor Johnson and just they just opened the movie with them in the Monarch facility. You see, Bryan Cranston was the most interesting character by far of 2014 because we got to see the setup and the death of his wife and how that affected him and the relationship of his son, Aaron Taylor Johnson. So we got to see the conflict and drama between them. But for this, I mean, this is the first scene that Kyle Chandler and Millie Bobby Brown actually have together. Damn. I'm starting to think maybe I should have called this video Why Godzilla 2014 is Better Than King of the Monsters. So anyway, after Ghidorah is released, he surprisingly starts destroying shit, and apparently Vera Farmiga had no backup plan whatsoever if he goes rogue. So this causes Millie Bobby Brown to hate her mom now and lure Ghidorah to Boston. What's the plan for when Ghidorah actually gets there?
And then what?
And then I'll figure out what the hell Monster Zero really is and try to stop it.
So then this causes Vera Farmiga to have a change of heart. Oh, and what do? Oh, of course. They just let her go. Yeah, didn't you know that terrorists, they're honest people, you know? They're very reasonable. Honestly, why didn't Bush just have a nice old heart-to-heart with Bin Laden over tea? So then Vera Farmiga, she goes off and she tries to find Millie Bobby Brown, right? But you're telling me that this meant that Vera Farmiga was all completely ready to just raise her daughter in a fallout shelter, basically, just while the monsters destroy Earth on top. And all it took was her just running away to realize how batshit insane her plan was. And then she just does the whole thing of trying to redeem her character by sacrificing herself, and even that doesn't make sense. Ghidorah was attracted to the orca. She didn't have to stay with it, but hey, whatever, moving on. So now you're asking yourself, but hey, Rich, what about the other characters? And hey, I'll tell you, they're not great. Here's a game if you're suicidal. Take a shot every time a character gives exposition.
It runs in the family.
If you were to just close your eyes and have someone just read you the dialogue from this movie, you couldn't tell who said what because they all sound the same. It's literally the job of all of these side characters just to shout exposition.
Yeah, we call it Castle Bravo, our new flagship facility.
I've been scouring through thousands of years of myths and legends.
It's a hollow earth. That's how he moves around so fast, using these underwater tunnels like wormholes, just like zipping around.
You came to me. This is your plan. We both want to save the planet.
Local legends call it Rodan, the fire demon.
No storm moves that fast.
Unless it's not a storm.
It's reacting to Big Bird's cries. It's almost like he's reshaping the planet to his own liking. It's like we killed our best shot at beating this thing. We've been fighting for decades.
This category 6 hurricane of DC is where King Ghidorah is nested. It's the only thing I got left, sir.
Apparently the writers of this movie also thought that the audience was brain dead, which after seeing the reaction, I can't blame them. Every time something happens on screen, a character just has to repeat it so that we, the audience, understand.
He's still alive.
Oh yeah, I forgot I have to talk about Shin Godzilla in this video. So look, Shin Godzilla doesn't have the best characters.
There is nothing memorable about the characters in Shin Godzilla. They are the most bland characters I have seen in a kaiju film, and that is saying a lot.
Okay, you get it, alright? But so did the director, because Shin Godzilla didn't try to set their characters up. They understood the limits of them. They weren't trying to use them somewhere where they shouldn't have. In Shin Godzilla, we're just introduced to the characters in the middle of everything, as it's going on. And it works. We just roll along with it. Oh, but then you're going to say, but why? Why does it work in Shin Godzilla, not King of the Monsters? Well, if you quiet down, I'll tell you why, alright? Because, simply put, they're not trying to make you cry every single 5 minutes. They don't focus on the human drama of the movie. They really don't. The camera in this film really acts just as a third-person perspective. You're supposed to be put into the situation with them, trying to figure out what Godzilla is doing this. They take you through that. Both movies, they deal with a large cast moving location to location, boardroom to boardroom, but Shin Godzilla just does it in a surprisingly just much more engaging way, because really it feels like a big chess game between Godzilla and Japan. Every time Godzilla moves, they move. You know, Shin Godzilla, efficient is the way I would describe it, really. It's just, it knows what to cut, what to leave on the table. That's what it is. There's almost no fat. It's a very efficient kind of movie. Now, that's not to say there isn't any characterization in the movie. You got Yaguchi, he wants to be prime minister, so you can see he's kind of setting that up. Kayako still wants to be the US president. We really just get to see how much of a toll this is taking on them, you know? That scene where Yaguchi breaks character, he's usually calm and stoic, but you can see it's just getting to him, and the other guy's like, hey man, you know, just chill out, and he hands him a water bottle. It just feels real. But the best example of this is when the characters, they're all in an office and they have a little bit of a downtime, and so they're just kind of chilling out, and we get to see the lock screen, the background of one of the guy's phone, and it's of him and his family, and it makes you go, oh, you know, I realize we've never actually seen the personal sides of these guys. It's just the business. And that's what it is. You realize, you sympathize in that moment, you realize what they're sacrificing, trying to stop Godzilla. Now, the best character scene in King of the Monsters, I would say, is between Serizawa and Kyle Chandler. Basically, Serizawa just tells him, he's like, hey, you know, you just have to accept and move past your child's death. And, I mean, it's a good scene, but They also implied that they've known each other for like years. They've been best friends apparently, and I did not get that at all. Also, this conversation didn't come up at all before. Also, something I noticed is that Serizawa, he likes to have his like little heart-to-hearts with his watch. It's kind of reminiscent of the 2014 scene. But hey, I'll forgive it because it feels real. It feels like the characters are actually talking to each other, like real people, not just shouting exposition. It just sucks though, because I would have actually liked to see the relationship and what they've done, but that's not going to happen because Serizawa, they pulled a 2014 and they killed off the most interesting character. Also, Sally Hawkins, I didn't even realize when it happened. I was reacting to it. Raph and Chris were laughing. They're like, did you notice? Did you notice? I didn't notice when she died. It's like, why? And for what? Just to replace her with an Asian Sally Hawkins? Anyway, getting back to Serizawa, I mean, his sacrifice, it's also an alright scene, I guess. I like it, I appreciate it, because it's the only scene in the movie that's not trying to ear rape you. So I appreciate it for that. I mean, it's not a bad scene. It doesn't make sense. I mean, because I feel like they could have just had someone, like a sub-nuke Godzilla. Serizawa didn't have to go back down there, but I'll forgive it, you know. I mean, maybe Godzilla was going to die if they didn't... Nope. That's it. Now, another issue I have with the movie is just how inconsistent it is and the tone of it as well. King of the Monsters, it's a sequel to Godzilla 2014, but it's pretty easy to forget that because the movies, they just feel like two separate universes. In Godzilla 2014, Monarch was established as this kind of grounded secret organization, like a Men in Black type thing that hide the existence of monsters. But in this movie, I mean, they're just basically Walmart brand S.H.I.E.L.D. You can just feel how much they wanted to make an Avengers movie, but with Godzilla. Monarch now has, like, Iron Man level tech with, like, holograms and the knockoff helicarrier, the Quinjets. I mean, everything's a green screen, nothing, any location the characters are in, it just doesn't feel real. And for a secret organization, they have bases all over the world. I mean, what happened to the original grounded Monarch? You're telling me that I'm supposed to believe this happened all over a course of 4 years between the films? The movie isn't just inconsistent with the universe, though. It's also just inconsistent with its tone. I don't know why, but for some reason Michael Dougherty thought that every character in this movie should have a punchline at the end of every scene. And I'll tell you, Martin Scorsese, he's the worst at it.
I still want to have kids one day, preferably without flippers. Oh my God. What about Mo, Larry, and Curly over there? Oh, Serizawa, let him fight action. I still want to waste that. Serizawa's got that lizard juice. See you in about 12 minutes. It's going to be a bad day to be a Red Sox fan. Jesus. Good thing he's on our side.
Are you recording this, Stan? I record everything, man. Everything.
I'll tell you, these characters, they think they're fucking hilarious. But in actuality, they can land a punchline just about as well as Harrison Ford can land a plane.
I didn't know you could fly a plane. Why, yes. Land, go.
It just comes across as cringy and a sad attempt to be a Marvel movie. I mean, look, I get it. If they wanted to go a more lighthearted route with Godzilla, I could see that. I mean, it'd be a departure from Godzilla 2014, but hey, fuck it at this point. But I mean, this movie, it just wants to have its cake and eat it too at the same time. They go from a melodramatic soap opera scene to like a little gag, and it just completely ruins and takes you out of the movie. How am I supposed to take the characters or the scenes in the movie seriously if the movie can't even take itself seriously? The little things like that just take you out of it. You know, honestly, tone just seems to be something that Michael Dougherty struggles with. Because I saw Krampus. I didn't think it was bad, but a big critique of that movie also was the tone, how it was just conflicting. I thought it was handled better in that movie, a lot better than it is here. But you know, tone is another thing that Shin Godzilla handles very well. I mean, the whole movie throughout is a pretty somber and straightforward movie, but it also has this tinge of like satiricalness, and it's good, you know, like they don't hit you over the head with it. It's more of a blink and you'll miss it type thing. There's a few scenes of levity, like Soggy Noodles, of course, that's a classic now, and Early Morning in Tokyo and stuff like that. But you know, they feel like real moments that real people would have, because when you are in a situation like that, you know, you just try to cheer people up sometimes. You know, it's something we actually do as humans. Nobody's going around in Shin Godzilla telling jokes that feels like it should have a 90s sitcom laugh track behind it. Okay, you know what? I know I've rambled on enough about the human characters. Oh, the boring human characters, blah, blah, blah. So I'm gonna get to the heart of it. The monster action, baby. It sucks. Seriously, they couldn't even get the monster action right. It just baffles me how people hated on Godzilla 2014 for it being too dark and for not being able to see anything. How they can praise this movie when literally every single action scene in it, monster fight scene, they're either it's raining, it's snowing, they're underwater, or it looks like a DC movie with how much dirt and dust and debris there is. There's also a lot more action this time, which is not a good thing. You can tell it's a deliberate choice because one of the biggest criticisms of 2014 was that there wasn't enough monster fighting. So they just completely overcompensated for it in this one. And you just become so desensitized to it within the first 30 minutes that eventually all the monsters, they just become big, stupid Michael Bay Transformers. See, King of the Monsters, it just lacks the build-up and suspense that 2014 had. There's like 7 different monster fights in this. There's just nothing memorable from the fight scenes in this movie, honestly. I mean, it's disappointing, you know, because like, if the characters are not redeeming, this is what you're going in for. And there's just nothing here. I just remember a bunch of hugging and like close-up shots, because every single shot in this movie, it's for some reason a mid to like close-up, and you can't see what's going on, and every single time the camera moves, it has that shaky cam and that stupid like artificial zoom in where they like zoom the camera in like that, like The Office or some shit. Like, why? They're not real. They're not real. You can make it look how you want to look. Why are you doing this? It does not look good. Really, I'm trying to think. There's only a few shots that I like in this movie. I like the one with Godzilla and Ghidorah squaring off in the Arctic. I like the one with Rodan and Ghidorah that looks like a painting. I like that one a lot. I like the Mothra wide shot. That's the thing. They're all wide shots. This movie needed more wide shots because there's no sense of scale in this movie because of that. You know, you can't tell how big the monsters are. Like in 2014, you know, there was always something in the foreground for reference. That way you could see. It was always from the position where a human could stand. But in this movie, the camera's just floating around in midair all the time following him. It feels like a video game. And Godzilla runs like he's got to take a shit. There's just no mass to the monsters anymore. And to me, they wasted all the monsters in this movie. I mean, their designs, they all look fine. You know, Godzilla's changed a little bit. I like his spikes from 2014 better. That's minor, though. Ghidorah, I like his design. Rodan, Mothra. But, like, Ghidorah, he has no presence in this movie. Like, he's freed, and then he just disappears for half the movie. The only time you see him is whenever he fights another monster. To me, it's weird that they gave, like, the big city destruction scene to Rodan. I think Ghidorah should have had one because he had no presence. I didn't feel intimidated by him, you know? It's just like he kind of goes off and he just disappears for half the movie just to show up at the end just to get killed. And then Rodan I think is probably the best one. Like I said, I like his scene. I like that scene with the destruction. I like the shadow. That was a good shot of him flying over and the destruction of that. But then they just ruin it when he flies into fight Ghidorah with the cloud of dust and stuff and you can't see it. And of course you got Mothra. She does what she does best. She dies. I mean, like, look, so like I said, I like her design. I like the new powers they gave her, but like, come on, like, you couldn't have found anything original to do. Like, it's just so recycled. Something that Shin Godzilla excels in is its cinematography. It's so creative with it, and for something that has half the budget of King of the Monsters, it's so much more unique, leaps and bounds above King of the Monsters. I mean, every single frame of Shin Godzilla, you just feel how massive he is, just how big and imposing, because it's always filmed from like a lower angle, and you get a lot of wide shots of his destruction, and you see like a lot of things in the foreground, so they have good sense of scale and know where everything is. And you know, there are some real wonky shots in King of the Monsters. Like, it's crazy. Like I said, it had a high budget. I just don't know how some of these shots like were able to make it through. But everything in Shin is just better. I mean, the lighting, like I said, the cinematography, just the framing of it. Godzilla has presence. He feels 1,000 times more intimidating, more scary than Ghidorah in King of the Monsters. There's also a lot of cool tracking shots in Shin I like a lot. Like, you get to see a lot of perspectives of like from a tank. You get to see him or like from a car or even from a chair. Yeah, that's cool. It just felt a lot more unique, more than like I said, a Michael Bay kind of Transformers big blockbuster. Both Shin and 2014 in that way, they felt more unique. And I'll say this, nothing in King of the Monsters compares to the atomic breath scene in Shin Godzilla. It's amazing. It's a beautiful scene, the way it's set up, just the colors of it, everything, how intimidating Godzilla is, and just how it's haunting but oddly beautiful. The music plays a big part of it. The score of Shin Godzilla has really grown on me. I still get annoyed by that one fucking track. The whole scene is set up, and like when the Prime Minister, his helicopter just, it's scary. It's honestly scary just how fast he's wiped away. The finale of Shin Godzilla is also actually pretty cool too. It's unique, and I like the way that they were able to bring down Godzilla in a way that we've never seen before, but also keep it grounded. Here's another big complaint. There is so much just fan service in King of the Monsters, and it serves no purpose at all. Now look, I'm sure Michael Dougherty, I'm sure he's a nice guy, I know I'm ragging on him, but he just had no business directing this because he put himself as a fan before the film, and that's a problem. He clearly just went too far with trying to please fans. I mean, so for instance, the original roars are in this movie now, Godzilla, you know, the original Toho roars, like, why? What purpose does that serve? None. It also doesn't sound right, look right coming out of this Godzilla, you know? I mean, he didn't do it before, so it doesn't make sense in the continuity of the universe. There's just so much stuff in this movie that makes you go, yep, that's a thing from a thing. The oxygen destroyer is in this movie for some reason, and it's not even the oxygen destroyer, they just make it like a nuke, a green giant nuke, so you couldn't even get the fan service part right.
That's a lot of fish.
Then we have the Mothra twins, they're set up for some reason, it's like, every generation there's like 2 twins or something, so it's like some like midsummer kind of cult going on there, I don't know. Another thing they wasted is Burning Godzilla. Now nobody can use Burning Godzilla, and he shows up for all of, what, 30 seconds at the end of the battle. He just suddenly goes thermonuclear, and what does he do? He just kind of gives a nuclear pulse to like kill Ghidorah, and it explodes into a white light. Fucking lame. Come on. If you want to know how to do fan service right, look at Avengers Endgame. I mean, that movie's just packed to the rim of it. You know, it's like, hey, that's cool. That's a cool thing. You know, that's a cool callback. But it all serves a purpose. You know, it still has to serve or push the plot forward. This stuff, it's like it just takes it to a grinding halt. It's like, look, oh, you remember this thing from Godzilla? That's cool, yeah. All right, now I'm just going to talk about some things that either bugged me or didn't make sense in the movie. There are too many countdowns in this movie. I counted 4. I'm sure there's probably more. But, yeah, I mean, once you use your 1 movie, it's like everyone gets 1. After that, the tension's gone.
ETA to Monster Zero, 60 seconds!
3, 2.
Godzilla's radiation's reaching critical mass. 6 minutes until he blows.
Another one is just how lazy they are with like the footage. Like anytime they bring up or show like a past event from another movie in the Monsterverse, they just rip the footage straight from that movie. And it's just the little things, the devil's in the details really, where it's like it just takes you out of it. It's like that's just from Godzilla 2014. Apparently humans are built like Nokias in this movie. The characters in this movie, they come to conclusions like Disney Channel actors do. All the monsters, they just seem to know where to be and when. Like I already mentioned Godzilla in the Arctic, and there's a few other examples, but like at the very end of the movie, like the Titans, they just show up out of nowhere. Whenever Rodan gets stabbed by Mothra in the final battle, they literally just rip the sound effect from Godzilla 2014 when the Muto dies. Alright, and this one bugged me the most. So whenever Ghidorah, he picks up Godzilla, right? And he just flies him up into the air and then he drops him. Godzilla's falling should have caused a lot more destruction. But just how much more destruction, you ask? Well, lucky for you, I did the research, I crunched the numbers, so let's get into it. So Ghidorah flew Godzilla to the troposphere, which is about 33,000 feet high. Now I counted down the amount of time that it took Godzilla to fall, and it was about 16 seconds. So that meant that he was falling at a rate of 2,062.5 feet per second. But I still factored in gravity, so I found this by taking his mass, and I factored in his drag total, which came out to be per second. But I still, with all of what I used, I found everyone would be dead! So it was about 2 a.m. when I realized I was working too hard on this and I didn't have a degree in physics. So I went to a website that simulates what the impact from a meteor would cause, and I found a meteor that's actually smaller than Godzilla. So I just placed it in Boston, and just look at the destruction. So like overall, for a movie that took me a year to watch, and even then I had no expectations at all, I was still somehow disappointed. This movie is just a true waste of time. It's so insultingly stupid. But the people who called Godzilla 2014 just, oh, dumb American blockbuster, but praised this movie, when in actuality, this movie is the dumb American blockbuster. Now, I'm not saying that opinions can't change. They should. That's what they are. They're opinions. But what I'm saying is that when the same people who complain about Godzilla 2014 having bad characters and for not being able to see the monsters, but then they praise this movie, it just completely points out the hypocrisy that is in this fan base. You You people that say that, you are the ones who imposed this glass ceiling on the Godzilla fanbase. We can never rise above it because you can't take it seriously. If you can't take Godzilla seriously, then how do you expect others to? Just seeing how people love this film, it really makes me think that all Godzilla fans are just big babies. The one redeeming thing I'll say about King of the Monsters is that it led me to a new appreciation of Shin Godzilla. Shin Godzilla is just it's a film. I never referred to King of the Monsters in this review as a film. It's a movie. Shin Godzilla is a film. That's what it's trying to do. It just knows how to handle its characters. It knows when to cut between them, different locations, how to handle a large cast of characters. Everything about the lighting, the cinematography, the monster action, it's leagues and bounds better. I found a new appreciation for it. It won't give me a migraine. I would watch Shin Godzilla any day over King of the Monsters because, hey, at least I can take a nap through it. But hey, thank you guys so much for watching though. Please rate, comment, and subscribe. Give it a big thumbs up if you enjoyed this video. You're probably not going to give it a big thumbs up. I know that. But hey, look, I'll say this. Going into Godzilla vs. King Kong, I have much higher hopes for it than this movie. Watching this movie now, I think they're doing a different thing with Kong, so I really hope it's going to be better. But yeah, guys, I think I have a few more ideas for videos, but if I take another 6-month hiatus, which I probably will, don't say I didn't, basically. But alright, with all that said, thank you guys so much for watching, and Gojira 51, as always, out.